Good morning. I'm James Exum here in my home in South Austin, Texas, of course, and it's 12:30 and just starting the afternoon out. And this is my latest video. I call this one, Did You Choose Your Path? Or Did Your Path Choose You? And it's an exploration of our destiny, our choices, and our life's journey. And this video will be a bit different than most of my videos. This one will have quotes from writers and poets and contemporary songwriters and singers and folk singers, and it's just a little different. I want to, for a while, switch from the classical Vedanta studies and the yoga philosophy, which is fine. This is still part of yoga philosophy, but I want to switch gears here and come into more of a contemporary setting to teach this discourse. And so let's just start it out. At some point, and I'm reading from my written discourse that I created a few days ago. And I will veer away from that occasionally and give personal narrations on this same discourse. At some point in life, many of us pause to consider the roads we have traveled. We ask ourselves, did I choose my path, or did the path choose me? This question strikes at the heart of human experience. In human experience. And it's touching on ideas of destiny, free will, and the unpredictable twists and turns of our journey through life on this earth as encapsulated souls inside of a temporary human body. So we have these roles that we live and perform, and we have our choices. From early childhood, we are presented with choices, some as simple as what to eat for breakfast, others more profound, like which college to attend or which career to pursue. These choices shape our experiences, and ultimately they shape our identity. The notion of self-determination suggests that we are the architects of our own paths, making decisions based on our desires, values, and ambitions. If you hear some noise in the background, I'm sorry about that, but that's my 20-year-old junior bird, cockatoo, and he's playing in his cage in the background. The process of choosing is not always straightforward. However, external pressures, family expectations, and societal norms, economic realities can influence or even limit our options, especially nowadays. Yet even within constraints, the act of choosing remains powerful. Every decision, big, every decision, small, is a step along the path we construct for ourselves. Now, we also have the influence of our karma, past karma. We also have the influence of the path we have chosen, which is called the Dharma, and we want to choose the path of Dharma that is righteous. There are bad paths of Dharma, there are neutral paths of Dharma, there is bad karma, there's neutral karma, there's good karma. So it's up to each individual to choose from these circumstances. On the other hand, not everything in life is within our control. Fate, chance, and circumstances often play a significant role. Sometimes opportunities appear unexpectedly, or events unfold that push us in directions we never imagined. I've had that happen to me, and possibly you've had it happen to yourself. A chance meeting, a sudden job offer, or an unforeseen crisis can alter the course of our lives in ways we neither planned nor predicted. I remember when I started my career, I just finished my schooling, and I was over at a friend's house, and I was looking for a job in that particular career. And he was reading a newspaper, and he just happened to read a want ad that matched exactly what I was looking for. And I thought he was joking at first. And he said, "Oh no, here's the paper." I called that number, went for the interview, was hired by the owner of that business, had been there for 20 or 30 years, and within 5 years I was the owner of that company as his apprentice, so to speak. So sometimes opportunities appear unexpectedly, or events unfold that push us in directions we never imagined. A chance meeting, a sudden job offer, or unforeseen crisis can alter the course of our lives in ways which we neither planned nor predicted. Now, this unforeseen crisis, years and years and years later, in fact, I bought that business at 80, and then in the year 2000, I had an unforeseen crisis because my business partner in some of my other enterprises committed suicide. He had lots of deep-seated psychological problems. So that crisis altered the course of my life for it's still altering the course of my life, but as far as depression coming in and my loss of motivation and so forth, it affected me for several years. And there's no way I could have planned that coming on me, nor have predicted. For many, these moments feel as though the path itself emerged from the mist, beckoning us towards it. The idea that the path chooses us speaks to the randomness and mystery inherent in life, suggesting perhaps we are part of a larger story moving along currents beyond our understanding. Well, now I'm going to go to some contemporary ideas, and I looked up a few of these things, and I added them into I researched them, and I added them into this paper that I wrote the other day. And there's a young man that I'm very impressed by. He's sort of a modern day Bob Dylan. His name is Jesse Wells. He's out of Arkansas. Well, I had a good friend years ago from Arkansas. In fact, I went up and visited his family for a short while and stayed there for a little while. My first impression of people from Arkansas was I thought they were just a bunch of country folks, just unsophisticated. But my friend from Arkansas was one of the most sophisticated men I've ever known in my life. So this young Jesse Wells is very creative. His works demonstrate subtle inflections of yoga philosophy, particularly in the exploration of consciousness and the journey toward his inner harmony. His poetry and prose frequently touches on themes such as the search for the authentic selfhood and the practice of social awareness. These are key principles in yogic tradition. Through vivid imagery and reflective narratives, this young Jesse Wells invites readers to consider the importance, my readers and myself as a listener, I should have said listener, to consider the importance of being present, letting go of attachments, and embracing the process of transformation. His work often mirrors the understanding that true contentment arises from within, and he echoes the belief that the path to understanding is a deeply personal and continually evolving process. Now, he wrote a song called "Don't We Get By," and I'm not trying to infringe on his copyright. I'm giving it full disclosure right here and now. And here are just a couple of lyrics from his songs. It's a very interesting song, and I'm going to quote it. Oh, and I found this on YouTube, by the way, so I'm going to quote it. It says, "I seen the silversmiths in Baghdad and Basra. I laid eyes on them alone. I'm talking about dimensions. I'm talking about ascending. My soul's going to know to come to me when I'm home." Well, if that's not a yogic influence or a yogic theme, I really don't know what is. And I've been studying yoga for over 50 years I'm an old yogi. Yoga philosophy is my specialty. And here's something else he wrote. There are Mesopotamian visions, and then again there are Midwestern dreams. I built a trebuchet to jump the walls and see them while they were quarrying the Colosseum. A trebuchet is that device that you put a big stone in and they pull it back with ropes on a winch, and then you cut the rope and it flings a huge stone to knock down walls of castles or barriers. This is all very, very insightful of yoga philosophy. Now, Bob Dylan, who he reminds me of, and I'm sure he reminds other people of him, Bob Dylan, too, grew up upon yoga philosophy throughout his career, weaving themes of self-realization and spiritual searchings into his lyrics, songs like Every Grain of Sand. Well, coincidentally, this young Jesse Wells covered that song, Every Grain of Sand, and did a very good job of it. Every Grain of Sand reflects a contemplative awareness and acceptance, reminiscence of yogic teachings, and Dylan muses on the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of mindfulness. His involving artistry often mirrors the yogic journey, embracing change, seeking truth, and letting go of attachments to find deeper meaning. Yoga philosophy, especially its core and concepts of mindfulness, non-attachment, and self-realization, has profoundly influenced modern poets and songwriters over the past century. Sorry about that. Junior Bird, my parrot, was throwing one of his toys around the cage and making as much noise as possible. He's very jealous of me doing anything except paying attention to him. He's a one-man bird, and he expects me to be not just his caretaker, but also his companion, his friend, and his playmate. And he'll do anything he can to distract from me doing anything except paying attention to him, and that's what was happening in the background. So I had to go and take his toy out of the cage. I'll give it back to him once this is over. Yoga philosophy, especially in its core concepts of mindfulness, non-attachment, and self-realization, has profoundly influenced modern poets and songwriters over the past century. One, such as Allen Ginsberg, drew from yogic practices and Eastern thoughts, weaving them into poems like Footnote to Howl, like a wolf howling, where he declared, "The world is holy, the soul is holy," quote unquote, echoing the yogic idea of the sacredness of all existence. Similarly, Leonard Cohen, a songwriter and poet who spent years in meditation and Zen practice, reflected yoga's influence in lines like, "There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in," from his song Anthem, which resonates with yogic acceptance of imperfection and the search for inner illumination. More recently, artists like George Harrison of the Beatles openly embraced yoga-inspired ideas as heard in Within You, Without You. When you've seen beyond yourself, quote, then you may find peace of mind and is waiting there, unquote. The Beatles met with the Maharaja Mayhem yogi, who was a very small man, and they were there for several weeks, I believe, and George Harrison was one more profoundly affected by the yogi's teachings, and so that's where a lot of his inspiration came from later on. This lyric directly references the yogic teachings of transcending ego to find deeper peace. Poets such as Mary Oliver also echo yogic mindfulness in lines like attention, quote, "Attention is the beginning of devotion," unquote. That's a very good line, reminding readers of the transformative power of present moment awareness. Through these examples, it's clear that yoga philosophy continues to inspire artists to explore themes of self-discovery, acceptance, and the interconnectedness of all life. Carl Sandburg mused on the unpredictability of life's journey. He said, "I am an idealist. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm on my way. And then we come to Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. And I'm going to quote from his poem. Two roads diverged to a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent into the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and needed wear, though as far that passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubt if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged into a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This is an excerpt from his Mountain Interval, 1916, by Robert Frost. I think Junior was inspired by Robert Frost to get a little testy in the background, so I had to go and deal with that once again. Again, I'm sorry about these things, but they do happen. So Carl Sandburg's poetic reflections echo the spirit of choosing one's own way. As he writes, I took the road that wanted wear. This line, though reminiscent of Robert Frost's famous poem, captures Sandburg's embrace of forging a unique path and the courage to explore new direction. Carl Sandburg's reflection, I am an idealist, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way, echoes themes found in Robert Frost's celebrated poem. So they complement each other. While Sandburg emphasizes the uncertainty and hopefulness in life's journey, Frost's poem contemplates the choices we make and their lasting impact. Both writers suggested embracing uncertainty and acknowledging the role of choice enriches our experiences of the path which lies ahead. Sandburg's optimism and Frost's introspection together remind us that the roads we choose are those that seem to choose us. We are integral in the unfolding story of our own lives. Now we're going to go to Adi Shankara, who, as you should know, or will know, or do know, was the great commentator and writer from the 8th century Common Era on the subject of yoga philosophy and great yoga writings. Shankara, in his teachings, remind us, quote, actions alone do not bind. It is the attachment to their results that creates bondage, unquote. This insight highlights the importance of acting with awareness without clinging to outcomes, and resonates deeply with the philosophy of karma and free will. Myself, as a yoga philosopher and a yoga poet and a yoga artist and all the other things I do, I'm a polymath, so there's many fields I've pretty much mastered as far as the world of art and fine art and philosophy. Reflecting on the practice of witnessing consciousness, I have written, when we observe, quote, when we observe our thoughts without judgment, we discover the freedom to choose authentically rather than simply reacting to conditioning, unquote. This perspective encourages mindful engagement with our choices, fostering clarity and self-understanding. Throughout history, thinkers and writers have grappled with the balance between destiny and choice. William Shakespeare famously wrote, quote, it is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves, unquote, reminding us of our power to shape our futures. Henry David Thoreau echoed a similar sentiment. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you'll imagine. His friend Ralph Waldo Emerson, who is another transcendentalist, too championed self-reliance, quote, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. From Eastern philosophy, unquote, from Eastern philosophy, the Bhagavad Gita offers wisdom on the interplay between action and fate. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to fruits of your actions, and that's from the Gita, chapter 2, verse 47. These words from diverse sources reinforce the view that life's path is shaped both by our choices and by forces beyond our control, inviting us to engage with our journey thoughtfully and courageously. Yoga philosophy offers a unique lens through which to view destiny, choice, and life's journeys. According to the ancient teachers of Adi Shankar, the concept of free will is intertwined with karma, the law of cause and effect, where our actions, karma, shape our present and future circumstances. Yet there's also a deeper reality, Brahman, the creator, where our individuality dissolves and destiny is seen as part of our cosmic order. Sakshi, the witnessing consciousness in yoga, that's my pen name, it's also the name I gave my soul, encourage us to observe our faults and choices without attachment, fostering clarity about what drives our decisions and our ambitions. In my commentaries, I suggest that by cultivating this awareness, we can better distinguish between choices arising from authentic desires and those shaped by external influence or unconscious patterns. Now, I am and have been a student of Dr. Carl Jung's work and his philosophy. Dr. Carl Jung, drawing from both Western psychology and Eastern philosophy, explores the interplay between conscious choices and the unconscious. Dr. Jung believed that the individuation process, becoming one's true self, requires us to confront both the forces we control and those that seem to shape us from the shadows. He argued that fate and free will are not mutually exclusive. Rather, our journey involves integrating destiny and choice. And when that happens, there's the recognition that some aspects of our path are chosen, while others emerge from deeper layers of the psyche or from the collective unconsciousness. I like that idea about the collective unconsciousness. In fact, I'm going to write a discourse on that pretty soon. In this way, the teachings of yoga and Jungian psychology both invite us to engage with life's journey as a dance between agency and surrender. The reality is likely a blend of both perspectives. Our choices matter, they shape our future and reflect who we see, who we are. Yet life's unpredictability means the path sometimes chooses us, presenting opportunities or challenges that we could never have foreseen. Navigating life is an artful dance between intention and adaptation, between planning and responding. Now you also need to have your personal reflections on your journey. I recognize moments of deliberate decisions and times when life seemed to nudge me in unexpected directions. Maybe you dealt with that also, felt with it and dealt with it. There were instances when I actively pursued my dreams, and just as many with circumstances, both fortunate and challenging, shaped my path. In the end, both choice and serendipity have defined who I am today. So in conclusion, do you choose your path, or did your path choose you? The answer may not be so simple or absolute. Introspection will help you to find the answer to this question, those questions. Life is a tapestry woven from the threads of choice and chance, destiny and determination. Embracing both allows us to appreciate the richness of our journeys, finding meaning in every step, whether we planned it or not. And there it is. And there endeth the lesson. So if you enjoyed it, and I hope you did, that's really fantastic. And if you did, please pass on this message, this video, share it with friends and family so that they too can learn from yoga philosophy. If you didn't, that's okay too. And remember, be good to yourself, be good to others, be good to your family, strangers, and keep the faith, because all the problems of the world we're experiencing in the United States at this point in time, the old saying is, and this too shall pass. So thank you again for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.